Hello, Future Tom here. I am editing the video you're about to watch with our comparison between standard and all-wheel drive Model 3. Quick, funny disclaimer, I kept fumbling over my words a couple times, so sometimes I say long-wheel drive instead of all-wheel drive. I'm used to saying messing me up again already. I'm used to saying long wheelbase a lot for other cars, specifically when I mention, Suburban and stuff like that. I'll usually say long wheelbase, or all-wheel drive, or long range, and I kept accidentally saying long wheel drive. So whenever I say that, I'm probably meaning all wheel drive or long range. So enjoy the video. Today we're doing a comparison of the audio systems in the rear wheel drive Model 3 and the all wheel drive and performance Model 3s. The rear wheel drive, including long range, doesn't have the premium audio system. So it has no dedicated subwoofer, along with a few different missing speakers, if I recall. We'll refer to the diagram in a little bit. But yeah, I couldn't do both cars at the same time, so we're going to start with the standard, go over this one really quick, hear how it sounds, and then we'll move to the all-wheel drive with the premium audio option, which comes with any long-wheel drive performance. We'll do that one next. Compared to the all-wheel drive and performance with the premium audio, we have the standard audio, and this has a 9-speaker setup. So let's go over the speakers we can find here. We have dashboard seat speaker that includes 3 right there. Have one on the door card here, one up here, that makes 5. 2 more over there, here and here, that makes 7. And last but not least, we have the speaker here and a speaker over there, making 9. One of the things you notice that's missing is the subwoofer slider for the equalizer. Usually it'll have its own dedicated slider right here, but all you have is a bass slider, which controls, the bass output for the general audio system in the rest of the car. So with that in mind, you do lose some of the, richness of all the speakers around. However, it still doesn't sound bad. It still sounds better than most standard audios in cars at this price point, and even some cars, higher than this price point. This one being base Model 3 audio sound system still sounds better than the Rivian premium audio sound system. And the Rivian has a dedicated subwoofer. This does not. The bottom door card speakers, along with the dashboard ones here, do a really good job at filling in for the missing subwoofer. And honestly, it sounds pretty usable. Now, back here is where I think you'd see the biggest difference. Back here, not only do you have no subwoofer, but you also have less audio coming from up here and less sound coming from back there as well. The premium audio will have speakers back there behind the headrests, as well as, I can pull up the diagram here, as well as 2 subwoofers in the back. In the front, you are also missing the 2 A-pillar speakers that go here and over there. I have those in my older 2019 Model 3 Performance because that has the premium setup. So, how does it sound in the front? In the front, it sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty close to what an all-wheel drive would, in my opinion. You miss some bass, and you also miss some clarity. So similar to the Model Y I reviewed before, it's very, this height and down. So no speakers here. All you have are the highest speaker you have here is this one right here. So that will be where most of your highs come from, and pretty much all of your bass here in the standard will come from this right here and this down here. As I was saying earlier, back here in the second row is where you really see the pitfalls of the standard audio system. All you have back here in its entirety is this and this. Now they sound pretty clear, but that's all you get. Everything else that you'll hear is coming from the front. And while the front sounds good, you have these seats blocking, it has to travel pretty far from a clarity standpoint, and you're not really getting the best experience. All the bass you're hearing is coming from the front, as well as any highs. These are basically doing a lot of mid, some high, some low, but mainly just mids. They're really just, they're really just there to complement the front. the front is doing all the work here. It's a pretty, I won't say it's a flat setup, because you do still hear bass, and you hear a lot of bass from the bottom door right there and the dashboard right there. But you are definitely missing out if you're sitting back here. In the front, I could live with this. In the back, I'd be pretty upset. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and go test the long wheel drive with the premium audio system. It has up to 17 speakers compared to the 9 in this one. So I'm pretty sure it'll sound just a tiny bit better. We'll see. I've now teleported into a long range, all-wheel drive Model 3 Highland. So now we are in the premium audio system. We now have an additional door speaker here, additional door speaker there. We have concealed speakers here and there. We head on to the second row right here. Still have the same speakers here and here. We have 2 more speakers here and here. We go to the trunk. We open the trunk. It's powered, unlike my old Model 3. And we have dual subwoofers here and here, along with a few small additional speakers across the car. This is a 17 speaker audio system, and it is fantastic. What? This has the quack sound? I didn't know you could do that in demos. I swear I didn't touch this. I just picked it up. Yep, it's the quack sound. Nice. Anyway, let's talk about these speakers. So, with the addition of this, you gain not only extra bass, but you also gain stronger mids. Same over here. And you have a much better soundstage and much more surrounding experience with the concealed speaker up here and up there. Let's take a look at the diagram once again. So, to add up for the entire 17 speaker setup, we have 3 right here in the bar around there. We have 3 per door. That makes 9 already. We have 10, 11 concealed. 12, 13, 14, 15, and then the dual subs make 16 and 17. So you have speakers almost everywhere you go. In the back seat, compared to the rear wheel drive, you now have an actually accommodating sound experience. You have some mids, probably for the glare. You have some mids and highs coming from here. You have some mids and highs coming from these 2 speakers here, and then you have the subwoofer. So the subwoofer you can hear all the way up front, but it also gives you some bass back here. Remember, in the bass, as in lower Model 3 experience, you don't have any bass here at all. So, the back seat actually is accommodating now. You can actually have a good experience listening back there. I'd be fine. I'd be happy for guests riding in the back. Compared to the rear wheel drive, I'd feel kind of bad for them.
Never let it fade. Make it timeless. Never let it fade. Timeless.
So after listening to this one, I realized I'd made an error in my Model Y review. Toward the end, I said that you can, if you wanted a more bassy experience, you could get the Y because it doesn't have a trunk blocking it, blocking the subwoofer in the back. So you'd have a bit more bassy experience by getting the open Model Y with the hatch versus a Model 3 at the trunk, blocking the subs. Well, in the Y, there's only one subwoofer. In the 3 Premium, there are 2 subwoofers. And despite being concealed by the trunk, they're more pronounced than the Y. So you actually get more bass in the 3 with the subwoofers concealed by the trunk than the Y with one subwoofer that's non-obstructed. Now, you also get a lot more rattling. It might likely just due to the nature of having a trunk. There's a lot more rattling from the bass in the 3 compared to the Y, as well as, of course, more rattling in this premium version compared to the standard version, because the standard didn't have these subwoofers, so what's there to rattle? In here, it rattles pretty much the whole trunk, as well as some panels I'm hearing over here in this rear right corner. Front-wise, I don't really hear any rattling or vibrations apart from the speakers, but I do hear a lot sitting in the back. It's kind of distracting in the second row, all the rattling. Now, would I take the rattling for extra bass and a better sound system? Heck yeah. I'd rather have better speakers, a more surrounding experience. Remember, we have more high-centered speakers here. Also, compared to the Model Y, I hear these upper speakers just a tad bit more pronounced than the concealed upper speakers that were in the new Y. It also sounds a bit more surrounding compared to the old 3, because not only do you have extra door cart speakers, you also have these upper ones here, and basically all the speakers can now focus on their own job. So now, if you're shopping purely on audio, I'd say definitely go for the all-wheel drive with the premium audio system. But say you're going for maybe range, or you're going for what's the cheapest, or you want better speed. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either. And if you're not a very bassy music listener, you wouldn't really know much of a difference, because for most songs, the door speakers will do just fine, because they still play a lot of bass. Now, the other reason I'd say you're fine with the rear-wheel drive is if you don't have guests in the back a lot, or should I say guests that care about music a lot. The front seats, front driver and front passenger, sound fantastic, and that goes for both versions. You lose some bass obviously in the standard, but it's definitely manageable. It sounds really good still. So if it's just you, or just you and a partner in this seat, I think you're pretty well off, especially if you're not really focused on bass. You do lose this here, as well as you losing this one right here, but it still doesn't make it sound muffled. It just sounds a tad bit less clear, a little bit less defined. If you're going for a rich audio experience with more bass, you want to hear that bass, you want to hear a more pronounced high frequency up here, you want to hear more of a surrounding, almost three-dimensional audio experience, you'll want the premium. As a reminder, the rear-wheel drive Model 3 has the standard, while the all-wheel drive has the premium along with the performance. It used to be the standard battery and rear-wheel drive, but now it's long-range all-wheel drive. So honestly, if you're looking for the cheapest car, rear-wheel drive long-range is fantastic and still sounds great. Just remember, you lose the dual subwoofers back here, you don't get any subwoofers, as well as a huge lack of speakers in the back in general. The 2 speakers right here and right here, really bad pointing, but behind the headrests, those are gone in the bass sound system. They're here for this one. So when you go to the back, all you have are the speakers in the door, 1 per door. Nothing behind the headrests, nothing in the trunk. Most of what you're hearing will come from the front. So if you have kids who don't care, perfect. I really just care if you have people listening, like people who want to listen to the music too in the back, or if you want to hear more bass up here. So even though you have nearly half of the speakers in the standard, you don't lose much. It still beats many audio systems at that price point, and honestly, it doesn't sound bad at all. So I'd leave it up to a couple things as far as factors to get it or not get it. I'd say it depends on your budget. It depends on what things might be more important to you. Both models I tested, there's the quack again. Both models I tested have the 18-inch air wheels. They're almost the same spec. Only difference in the standard I drove was it was in ultra red, but they basically look exactly the same. The only difference is, besides the audio system, is the motor. No motor here in the standard. There's one here because it's all-wheel drive, and possibly some aesthetic changes in the interior. I don't really pay attention to those. Remember, the Performance also has the premium audio system. Whoop, there we go. So all-wheel drive. Whoa, I just saw a coda. Sorry, I got distracted. There's a coda here. Anyway, so you don't lose much. Like I said, they're pretty similar. Like overall cars, going from rear-wheel drive to all-wheel drive. So all you'll really miss is more or less this half of the car from an audio standpoint. So in conclusion, which one should you buy? I'd leave it up to you. If you want the absolute best experience, stop quacking. If you want the best audio experience, definitely get the all-wheel drive or Performance. If it's not that important to you, you can absolutely get by with the rear-wheel drive. You don't lose much for a non-audiophile. If you are at least somewhat enthusiastic in music, you might notice a difference. But even for audiophiles, the bass sound system sounds great. Honestly, so the amplifier in my old Model 3 just went out a couple months ago, and basically it just turned itself into a standard audio system because I no longer have a sub. I only have the speakers in the door cards as well as up here, and well, my door card speakers are also failing, but that's another story. But yeah, let me know what you think. Would you pay the extra money for an all-wheel drive just for the sound system, or would you be fine with the standard? I honestly think you'll be fine either way, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thanks again to Tesla John Young for letting me test out their cars. They've been super helpful for these reviews. Appreciate it, guys.